I need to go back again, and that's to Gurdwara. And in that, my grandfather and my great-grandfather, they were always working towards for the community, I would say, kind of a social welfare environment to better the community. There was many struggles in the villages of recognition, even within the community. So Grandad and great-grandfather, they established a youth committee called Batra Youth Organisation. And way back in those times, probably between the 1960s, travelling back and forth from the world, a good probably into 1960, I keep forgetting, 21, these 5 years, this was going on back home. And then when they travelled over here, again, arriving in Glasgow, and my grandfather kept that part of up. So he himself, along with Lal Sharma, Ajagar Singh Chahal, and Grandad Jeevan Singh Pall, they brought about the first Gurdwara, which was in South Portland Street. Now, part of the community of the Patra Sangat, they always, wherever they go, they always make an emphasis to establish a Gurdwara. So the Gurdwara was established, and all of the community were involved. It was a small community at that time. Grandad kept, along with Dad, being involved in the setup of the Gurdwara at times. There were 6 tenants who stayed there who were Scottish, but the top property was owned by, again, I hope I'm right, but I believe it was a Mr. Khan owned the property in the top floor, and the community approached him. His name was Ali Khan, or it might be the other way around. They bought it from the gentleman. It was 70 South Portland Street. What I do remember from childhood was there was large steps leading up, and in the bottom left-hand side there was a small shop where they turned out crisps. So that was our favourite shop. You travelled to the top floor, so it was on the second floor, and the Gurdwara was on the right-hand side, and you had a large metal door, and when you opened the door, what we have is the main prayer hall, which is called the Darbar Sahib. So that was through there. It was, one is obviously it served the religious purpose of prayers and such, and harmonising the community through the scriptures and such. But also it was a social gathering for the community, so they could, discuss things, any issues or problems. And again, new parts of the community would be arriving over the period, and news from back home in India or Pakistan, it was greatly appreciated, and that kind of make the place, as one would say, kind of tick over. So the religious side was important, the social gathering, and this was always on a Sunday, because in those days in Scotland and majority of UK, going back to the 50s, 60s, this Sunday was the Sabbath, so therefore no work was done, everyone had the day off on the Sunday. So that was, I think, how even to the present day the community do gather mostly on Sunday, but now the doors are more open, there's more flexibility. Regarding the Gurdwaras, if we go back to early, we only had the one. The community was very small. Now the community is, obviously there's many more Sikhs in Glasgow now, and you'll be aware that we have 4 Gurdwaras. So in each of the Gurdwaras, the religious teaching is kind of more structured. Also, the congregation have a choice, to attend whichever they wish. And also, there's more interaction with the external community, the Scottish community itself. And also, I think you'll be aware of the open day event, so anyone from any part of the community. And I think also between the Muslim, the Sikh and the Christian community, and even the Jews, there's a better understanding. There's more coming and going. Earlier years we were very much keep the doors closed, no, we're fine, we're doing well. But yeah, much of the structure of the Gurdwara has changed, which is great. It's helped, and I'm sure the youth of today, male and female, of the Sikh community have great advantages ahead of them. So the faith always remains strong. Those who are the elders of each have a responsibility, and I'm sure they're attaining to their best ability. Within our family, we're probably the third or fourth generation have carried on the social welfare and well-being of our community. With that in mind, and along with my dad, Singh Pall, they kept developing and creating community cohesion. And in amongst that, I believe in the earlier years, we had the Indian Association. The Indian Association was a community of all Indians from India at that time who would weekly enhance the culture. And the best way at that time was possibly celebrating Independence Day, and then also a film show, because that was the kind of cultural connection for everyone. So every Sunday a film would be made available through their connections from down south. The cinemas that were close to where we stayed in the Oatlands part of Glasgow, was the Gorbals, and there it was a Crystal Palace cinema. And then I'm sure from there we moved, there used to be a cinema called the George. I think that was in George's Road, Charing Cross. And then as the years went on, we moved into like the La Scala, the Curzon Cinema, both in Suckhall Street, and then the one at top of Renfield Street used to be the Regal thing. So these were the cinemas the community used. As you can see from my appearance, I am a Sikh, wearing the basic attires, the turban and the beard, and strong in my own faith. Growing up was similar, because dad and my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, Joginder Singh Das and Jagdish Kaur Das, they recited the Guru Granth Sahib, so we were always close to our faith. Myself, as I was young, free. I enjoyed that time of not having a turban and such, but attended and read as much scripture as I could. Now, from my turning point to recognise, this is a personal thing now, was looking at myself in the mirror, and my name is Gurdev Azad Singh Pall. And I said the Singh part doesn't ring true, because to be a Singh, you do need to wear, personally, my own opinion, and that is my strong belief, is that the turban and the beard and the 5Ks are important. So over the years, I kept a beard and thought, and looked in the mirror and said, yeah, you're looking cool. But as the years went on, I would look in the mirror and say to myself, you're not true to your faith, you're hiding behind something. So I think I was around about 31, 32. I was working in the railways as a signalman, and I said, no, today is the day that I need to take this step for myself to be who I am, identify who I am. And on that day, around about 31, 32, I started to wear my dastar. So it's a very personal thing that I feel that I had to, because my conscience wouldn't allow me to continue to say my prayers or go to Gurdwara, and then people say, and what I do appreciate of all of the community of any occasion, because I wear the kara, the golden bangle on my wrist, they would always say Sardarji, and Sardarji clean cut, to me is not Sardarji. Sardarji should have his dastar, his dari, and his 5Ks. Regarding the physical appearance, regarding my granddad, so historically, as I said, Sikhs, we all wear the turban and keep the long hair. Great-granddad, Nanak Singh Muchal, retained that all his life. Granddad, when he started to travel, felt that to have easy movement, he would require to remove his turban, so he had his hair cut. and similar with my father, done the similar. Myself, I had long hair till the age of 5, and my granddad took me out one afternoon and took me to the barber shop and had my hair removed and come back and said to Mum, "Here's your son, how does it look?" And Mum was aghast, but as he was the father-in-law, there's no words that she could say. Now, going back, as we were saying, for travel purposes, to blend into the community, he made that decision, and therefore also to be able to move freely in Scotland or England, they changed the physical appearance, and that's why they did remove their hair. And similar, I think, I'm not sure why he decided for myself to have be clean shaven, but he decided that he wanted his grandson that way. But what is very important regarding my father and my grandfather is whenever they went to the Gurdwara, they would always tie the turban and present themselves there. Myself, as I was saying regarding the schooling and having my hair cut at that age, is something I just grew up with and accepted, and it was a lot later on in life.